Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Ayala here. It's time for Reader's Workshop. So, boys and girls, some of you have finished a book on your own. You finished your book club book, and it's tempting to dive right back into a new book, but there's a reason to hold off a bit. Authors spend a lot of time crafting stories. They think carefully about how to introduce readers to the characters in a story and the world the characters live in, the setting. Authors think about how characters will interact with one another and how to create tension, how to toss hurdle after hurdle at the main character until there's a boiling point, which is the climax. And of course, as we've discussed the past few days, authors think about how to resolve the big problem so that the character and the reader too will take away big lessons. You guys know a lot about how stories go. You know how they're made. We've talked about all these different things that go into a story. Remember this chart from the narrative nonfiction bend of our nonfiction unit? And I'm going to share my screen right now. So bear with me. It might take a second. And you're going to see this chart, and I know you've seen it before. Okay, hold on one second. All right, story elements. The main character, their traits, motivations, and wants. And instead of putting character, we could also put other characters, not just the main characters. The setting, how the time and place adds to the story. The problem or obstacles or challenges and the character's response to them. What does the character do? That's their response. The resolution, the way things end up. So we're going to use this story elements chart, and we're going to think about that make up a story. Just like a main character in any book travels along the story mountain, story elements are in all stories. So today I want to teach you that one thing that expert readers do, especially when they get to the end of the book, is to think about how all the parts fit together to make the whole story. Readers notice the choices an author makes and ask, what does this part do? And how does it connect to the other parts in a story? And we call this analytic. And expert readers are analytic readers. So let's give this a go. I'm going to read a couple parts of Because of Winn-Dixie now that we're almost done with the book. And we're going to look at how they seem even more important to me than they did when I originally read them. Will you help me figure out what part of the story does show what a main character wants? And what part of the story describes the setting? And what part of the story shows what the characters or the main character want? Or their challenges, the problem, their obstacles or their challenge, and how the characters respond to them, and the resolution, the way things end up. Okay, so we're going to think about how all these parts fit together. So I'm going to read these parts of Winn-Dixie right now. And we're going to see how all the parts connect to each other. The Open Arms Baptist Church of Naomi isn't a regular looking church. The building used to be a Picket Quick store. And when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the Picket Quick motto. It is written on the floor in little tiny red tiles that make up great big letters that say, pick, 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 quick, quick, quick. Thumbs up if you think that this is telling us about a place in the story, a setting, the world the character lives in. Agreed. This is a description of the church where Opal's father preaches. Now, this is a little bit trickier. How does this part connect with other parts in the story? I'm thinking that this part connects to the part where Opal tells us about the Friendly Corners trailer park where she lives. Neither place is fancy. The church wasn't even originally built as a church. And kids aren't supposed to live in this adult trailer park either. This gives us a sense of the kind of places that Opal lives, right? It's a small town where people are thrown together and make do with what they have. So we see that the church isn't really a church. It was built as a store. And the friendly trailer park is not even supposed to be for kids. It's supposed to be for adults. So that's the world, the setting that Opal lives in, and that's how they fit together. So let's try another passage. I went right back to my room and wrote down all the 10 things that the preacher had told me. I wrote them down just the way he said them to me so that I wouldn't forget them. And then I read them out loud to Winn-Dixie until I had them memorized. I wanted to know those 10 things inside and out. That way, if my mama ever came back, I could recognize her and I would be able to grab her and hold on to her tight and not let her get away from me again. This part tells us what Opal wants. It's showing what the main character's motivations are, her wants, right? For her mom to be back. It also shows us a big sadness or challenge right here, the problem that her mom has left her and that Opal is facing. Thumbs up if you agree. Now, I think that this part might connect to, how many of you said that this part connects to the scene in Gloria's garden when Opal pretends to talk to her mother at the wait and see tree and says a sort of goodbye to her? At that point, Opal has new friends to fill her heart and she's able to let go of her mom, right? And did any of you think about the scene when Opal holds on tightly to Winn-Dixie during the thunderstorms? Opal tries to hold on to the things she loves, right? So this part shows that she is at the start of her journey still. She hasn't found a way to let go yet. All right, boys and girls, we're going to do everything else in our lesson on Zoom when we're face to face. Ta-ta for now. Stopping the share.